Right, ladies and gents, the Chucky TV series. We've got some updates. It's an origin story for our character from Brad Dourif. We've also got Jasper cameo just right there as well, because, you know, Jasper loves cameoing in videos these days. Might as well just be the Jasper channel, why not? Anyway, so this is an origin story for Chucky, essentially, which I never really quite understood, because the first one's an origin story. Child's Play. You know, Chucky, Child's Play. That is an origin story, you would think. But we've got some more information here. This is courtesy of a Deadline article. And it was all... They sat down and they had a big discussion about everything. And Don Mancini, as well as Jennifer Tilly, actually, revealed some quite key bits of information to do with this series. And then also how the 2019 sort of remake from MGM, Orion, sort of put a spanner in the works as well. Quite interesting stuff. That whole rights section there was baffling at the time and is still sort of baffling now. But let's dive into it, shall we? So the classic Chucky film horror franchise is making the leap to television with the upcoming USA sci-fi series from Child's Play creator Don Mancini. And Channel Zero creator Nick Antosca, with Brad Dourif returning as the voice of Chucky alongside the movie's Jennifer Tilly. So she's coming back as well. Now, interestingly enough, and I didn't know this, it's going to be 8 episodes. Nice, standard, tight 8 episodes. That's really quite decent. That's not bad. That actually gives me a lot of hope for this series being well thought out, well put together. I mean, inevitably, these things can just come across as a cash grab anyway, but 8 episodes, nice. It's good. That's a pretty good condensed series. Not too short, not too long, pretty decent. Now that actually premieres on October 12th. Again, I didn't realise it was coming out so soon, so that's really, really good. I should know this, I have done some trailer reactions, things like this, but when the news is so few and far between on these things, certain things just kind of drop out the memory. Now that's actually there for a Halloween run, perfect time to drop it. And after a vintage Chucky doll turns up at a suburban yard sale, an idyllic American town is thrown into chaos as a series of horrifying murders begin to expose the town's hypocrisies and secrets. Meanwhile, the arrival of enemies and allies from Chucky's past threatens to expose the truth behind the killings. I'm not sure, again, how? How is that turning into this kind of origin story? As well as the demon doll's untold origins as a seemingly ordinary child who somehow became this notorious monster. I thought we knew all of this. The first one explained it. You know, he was just a criminal. He was a basic criminal, but he got taught the voodoo spell by someone else, and that was basically it. It's interesting that they're expanding on it. I don't know whether I like it, in fairness, but it's interesting all the same. Now, during a TCA panel for the series Monday, Mancini explained why the franchise is finally tackling the origin story of the title character after so many movies. I thought he'd already done that. Now, here we go. Exploring Charles Lee Ray's origins, this is from Don himself, has been something that the fans have wanted to see and have been asking for literally for decades now. And one of the reasons I was excited about taking the franchise into the medium of television was because having so much storytelling real estate, 8 hours of Chucky, that provided such a great opportunity for exploring that stuff among other stuff. But yeah, so one of the things I was most excited about doing with the show was exploring Charles Lee Ray's origin. Not overly sure whether that's going to be that interesting. You know, do we really need to know how this guy became a criminal? Is that as compelling as how he became the doll? I don't think so, but maybe the execution will change my mind on that. Now, the series was already in the works when the 2019 movie Child's Play from a different creative team came out, MGM, Orion. And they had this to say about that. This is from Jennifer Tilly. She says, it did throw a crimp in things, a little bit, because we were kind of like, well, now, where do we belong in the Chucky universe? Now, she's obviously coming back to this show. And she says further, and apparently the film was very good and very well reviewed, but the fans, I don't know. Remember they came out with Nick Coke and with New Coke, and everyone liked Coke Classic better, so they brought back the old Coke, and now they call it Coke Classic. I think this is a similar thing. I mean, people, they love the original Chucky with the voice of Brad Dourif, and that's true. You know, the movie was a bit of a throw. It was dumb fun, to be fair. Like, it was just Child's Play, but a dumb fun. But they raise a good point here, you know, about New Coke and Classic Coke, and we'll just bring that back. It's Classic Coke, like it's like I get it. But in terms of where they stood on it all, I mean, they didn't stand anywhere. It was their own separate franchise, essentially. It's branched off into two separate entities. Now, the series will stay true to the character's style and other key elements of the movies. And Mancini had this to say: "One of the things that was important to me, that we'd be able to retain all of the aspects of the franchise that the fans love. One of which is the gore. The other of which, of course, is Chucky's propensity for dropping F-bombs." Because he does, like, you know, Brad Dourif is... he drops F-bombs like they're running out of fashion, you know, it's going out. We also have a habit of bringing actors back in different roles from movie to movie, and we were doing that before Ryan Murphy started doing that with the repertoire company he put together on American Horror Story. So even if someone dies, they can come back in another role, and I started doing that with Jennifer back in the 90s. So there you go. I mean, it's a pretty tight, condensed down sort of interview and article. They don't reveal too much. I think you know, what I find probably the most compelling here is the fact that he's the 8 episode series, really nice, good. Releases October 12th. Not sure how they're going to release them. Whether, you know, I mean, it's on streaming, isn't it? Will they release it all at once? Big dump there. You know, it says for a Halloween run. Will it be weekly? So on and so forth. Twice weekly. Who knows? To obviously then get to Halloween. But the other thing, which the other thing that I find interesting, and probably to a fault, is this whole, we need to explore Charles Lee Ray's origins. Have fans actually been clamoring for that? I haven't, personally. I like Child's Play as a franchise, but I've never really cared too much about where Charles Lee Ray came from. Like, you know, we knew he was a criminal. He got the voodoo spell. He became a doll. Sure. Like, I can run with that. I'm fine with that. Don't really care about anything else. But apparently people really, really wanted to know that. Okay. Interesting. And again, we get a sort of a snippet of that, you know, when they're talking about the episodes itself. You know, an idyllic American town is thrown into chaos. Horrifying murders begin to expose the town's hypocrisies and secrets. But then enemies and allies turn up from Chucky's past, and that threatens to expose the truth behind the killings specifically. So he's obviously killing people that he knows, that he hates, that he has grudges with. Which makes sense to a degree, but he's also partnered up with some, like, kid as well. We watched from the trailer. The trailer was actually quite good. So anyway, there you go. I mean, there's not much else really to go into here. Looks good, sounds good. We'll have to see how it sort of boils down when we actually watch it. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comment section. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Give a like on your way out. Cheers, guys. Take care.